Welcome to Smart Listening Lab, a channel for learning English through podcasts. You're listening to The Deep Dive. Today, we're jumping into something really practical for you. We're looking at a guide you shared about navigating the online job market, specifically for 2025. Our mission here is basically to sift through this source together, pull out those essential strategies, the real nuggets, that can help you find and actually land that ideal remote job right now.
That's a great way to put it. And this guide, it gives a really a clear snapshot of just how dynamic things are. It acknowledges the flexibility, the global reach, huge opportunities there. But it's also quite upfront about the flip side, which is, well, more competition.
Okay, so let's paint that picture for 2025. What's the biggest thing jumping out from this guide about the online job scene?
Well, the guide really emphasizes the continued evolution of remote work. I mean, yes, hybrid models are popping up everywhere, but it strongly underlines that fully remote roles, they're still a huge part of the market. And it gets into the why, right? Companies get access to global talent, which is massive. Plus, it often boosts employee satisfaction and, frankly, productivity, too, in many cases.
Yeah, that makes total sense. You're not just fishing in your local pond anymore. The whole world's potentially your recruitment ground. But like you said, that means more competition for you, the job seeker.
Exactly. And another thing the guide really flags as a game changer is AI. Its rise is just, well, pervasive. It's not just becoming a tool to do work online. AI is getting baked right into the job search itself. We're talking AI-powered job matching, tools helping you write applications, even AI helping you prep for interviews.
Wow, okay. So AI is a tool in the hunt now, not just something you might use in the job. So this global pool, the AI factor, it sounds complex, maybe a bit daunting, but also full of possibilities if you know the ropes.
Definitely full of possibilities. And the guide points out another interesting shift, particularly in areas like tech and creative fields. There's this growing move towards focusing on, demonstrable skills. What you can actually show you can do, your portfolio, sometimes even more than just traditional degrees.
That's huge. So it's not just about the diploma, but about proving your abilities. Adaptability must be key then.
Absolutely. Continuous learning is sort of woven through the whole thing. Oh, and one other big feature for 2025, according to this source, cybersecurity and data privacy. It's a massive concern for companies with remote teams. The guide kind of implies it's not just for the IT folks anymore. Everyone needs some awareness. Showing you get that, that can be a plus.
Okay, got it. So, big picture. Remote's still strong, AI is integrating rapidly, skills and portfolios are crucial, competition's up, and everyone needs to be security aware. If that's the landscape, what skills does this guide say you absolutely need? Let's dig into those in-demand skills.
Right. The guide makes this useful split between hard skills and soft skills, but it stresses you need, the right blend. For hard skills, yeah, tech is definitely prominent. Software, web development, cybersecurity get specific, mentioning threat detection, incident response. Also, data science, AI, and machine learning skills, UX, UI design. Those are consistently sought after.
The real technical foundations. What about the skills for, connecting with customers or running the business site online?
Oh, yeah. Digital marketing is massive. Think SEO, SEM, content marketing people. Businesses need to be visible online, so these roles are hot. Same goes for social media managers and all kinds of content creators, writers, video editors, graphic designers. They're essential.
Right, getting the word out and keeping people engaged, and for just making things run smoothly, the operational stuff.
The guide mentions virtual assistants are still in demand for support functions. Online tutors and teachers too, reflecting that shift in education. And project management skills are called out as critical for keeping those distributed teams pulling in the same direction.
Okay, those hard skills are pretty clear, but you mentioned soft skills, and the guide seems to really emphasize these for remote work in 2025. Calls them non-negotiable.
It really does. Communication is probably top of the list. Clear, proactive communication. When you're not face-to-face, how you write, how you speak, how timely you are, it has to be spot on. And being good with tools like Slack, Zoom, Teams, that's not just technical. It's about effective remote communication itself.
Right. No more just bumping into someone in the hallway for a quick chat. What else is crucial?
Time management and self-discipline. Big ones. The guide suggests that without that office structure, your ability to manage your own time, stay focused. It's paramount.
Yeah.
And closely linked is adaptability and flexibility. The tech, the tools, the processes in remote work can change fast. So being able and willing to learn new things quickly is really valued.
Sounds like you need to be pretty autonomous, pretty self-driven.
That's it, exactly. Problem solving comes up too, being able to figure things out on your own, not needing constant handholding. And even though you're remote, you're usually still part of a team. So teamwork and collaboration across distances, sometimes working asynchronously, that's key.
Digital literacy and tech savviness. That feels almost like table stakes now, but the guide still lists it.
It does, yeah. And I think the angle is about being comfortable and effective across all sorts of digital tools, maybe beyond just your core job function. And then there's that newer one, AI fluency. The guide isn't necessarily saying you need to be an AI developer, but understanding how to use AI tools effectively to boost your own work. That's becoming important.
Okay, so it's this mix. You need the core job skills, but layered with these remote-specific soft skills, plus that adaptability, including getting comfortable with AI.
That's the combination the guide really points to as the recipe for success in the remote world right now.
All right, so let's say you've worked on those skills. Now you need to actually find the jobs. Where does this guide suggest you should be looking in 2025?
It lays out a few different avenues. First, the big general remote job boards. It mentions flex jobs and points out they do a lot of screening, which can save you hassle. We Work Remotely gets a nod for being one of the largest and oldest. Remote OK is mentioned because it often lists salary ranges, which is helpful.
Those are the usual suspects, I guess.
Yeah.
Does it cover the huge aggregators, too?
Oh, yeah, definitely. LinkedIn is in there, especially highlighting its remote filter feature.
Yeah.
And indeed, and Glassdoor, of course, just because of the sheer volume of listings they pull in.
But the guide seems keen on niche and specialized boards as well. What's the thinking there?
Well, it's about focus, right? If you're in a specific field, these boards can cut through the noise. For tech, it lists well-found for startups, Stack Overflow jobs, GitHub jobs, even Turing for highly vetted developers. For creatives, it points to Dribble jobs, Behance. Then there's Jobspresso Tech, marketing support roles. Remotive is mentioned for its curated lists and community feel, and it specifically calls out working nomads and dynamite jobs for people looking strictly for 100% remote positions.
Makes sense. Go where the people in your specific industry are congregating online. What about gig work or freelancing?
Yep, covers that too. Freelancing platforms like Upwork, Fiverr, Freelancer.com, they're still major players. It mentions TopTal for more high-end, top-tier freelance talent, and then specialized ones like 99 Designs or Design Hill for designers, ServiceScape for writers and editors. Lots of options there.
So a platform for pretty much any remote skill you can think of. But the guide also spends time on what it calls the hidden job market. Tell us about that.
Yeah, this is super important according to the guide. A lot of the best online jobs, maybe even most, are never actually advertised publicly. They get filled through networks, through connections. So the guide basically says virtual networking isn't optional anymore in 2025. It's essential.
Okay, so how do you tap into that? What does the guide recommend?
LinkedIn networking is front and center, making sure your profile is really optimized, clearly stating you want remote work, highlighting those remote-friendly skills we talked about, actively connecting with people, not just collecting names, but genuinely engaging with folks in the industries or companies you're targeting. The guide even suggests that done right, respectful, well-researched cold outreach can actually work if you're clear about the value you offer.
So really investing time in building those online relationships anywhere else besides LinkedIn.
Yeah, online communities and events. The guide suggests looking into industry-specific Slack channels, relevant Reddit communities. It mentions remote jobs specifically, Discord servers too, and virtual conferences or webinars. These are all places where job leads might pop up, or where you can just make valuable connections. Oh, and the classic check company websites directly. Don't just rely on boards. Go straight to the source via their careers pages.
And didn't the guide mention some kind of, search trick?
Ah, yes. The Google Dorking for ATS. This is a cool little hack. It's about using specific Google search operators, like Cite, to find job postings that are sitting directly on a company's applicant tracking system, postings that might not get pushed out to the big job boards. The example it gave was searching site.bamboo.com, copywriter remote, that searches for remote copywriter roles, specifically within companies using the Bamboo HR system.
That's clever, like a bit of job hunting detective work. Okay, so you found some promising leads. Next up, crafting a winning application for this remote-first world.
Right, and the guide breaks this down piece by piece. For your resume, the big message, especially with applicant tracking systems reading everything first, is keywords are king. You absolutely have to tailor your resume using the language, the specific keywords from that job description. It even suggests tools like JobScan might help you check your keyword match.
So no more generic resume blasting. Tailor, tailor, tailor.
Exactly. Quality, not quantity. The The guide also pushes for a clean and simple format. Avoid fancy graphics, tables, weird headers, or footers that might confuse an ATS. Stick to standard section titles. And crucially, make sure you highlight remote-specific skills and tools. List the software you know.
Yeah.
Slack, Zoom, Asana, whatever's relevant. Use phrases that scream remote ready. Self-directed, managed projects remotely, collaborated across time zones.
You need to make it blindingly obvious you can thrive in a remote setup.
Precisely. And always try to quantify achievements whenever possible. Numbers make your impact concrete. Increased engagement by 20% is way better than just managed social media. And finally, the standard advice. PDF format is usually best, unless they specifically ask for something else.
Okay, resume sorted optimized for bots and humans. What about the cover letter? Does it still have a place in 2025?
This guide gives it a firm yes. The compelling cover letter is your chance to inject some personality, to tell your story beyond the bullet points. Show genuine enthusiasm for that role and that company. Explain why you want to work remotely for them. It shows you've done your homework and you're not just spamming applications.
Use it to connect the dots and show real interest. And our online selves, our digital footprint.
Huge. Your online presence is like your digital handshake, the guide says. LinkedIn is key. Make sure it's complete professional, echoing your skills and remote experience. Get recommendations if you can. For many roles, creatives, tech folks especially, a personal website or portfolio is almost non-negotiable. It's where you show your work. And a practical tip. Clean up your social media. Assume recruiters will look. Make sure anything public looks professional, or just lock it down private.
Right, make sure your online persona backs up your application. Okay, application's in, you've impressed them, now comes the virtual interview. How does the guide say you nail that?
It starts with the basics, the absolute must-dos. Tech check and setup. Test your internet, test your camera, test your mic. Do it beforehand. Good lighting is important. Try to face a window. Have a background that's clean, professional, and quiet. Use a professional-looking username on whatever platform they're using. Sounds simple, but critical.
Yeah, technical glitches are just awful and so avoidable. What about actually demonstrating your cutout for remote work during the conversation?
You have to demonstrate remote readiness. Be ready to talk about how you manage your time remotely, how you stay disciplined, how you use collaboration tools. Have concrete examples ready, times you worked independently successfully, times you collaborated effectively with a distributed team.
So bring those soft skills we talked about earlier into the interview with real examples.
Exactly. And remember, professionalism still matters. Dress the part, look at the camera to simulate eye contact, listen actively, show you're engaged.
And questions. Should you ask questions?
Definitely ask smart questions. The guide suggests asking about their specific remote culture. How do they communicate day to day? How do they build team connection remotely? What tools does the team actually use? Asking these shows you're serious and thinking practically about working there.
Good advice. And after the interview is over?
Follow up. Send a thank you email within 24 hours. Briefly reiterate your interest. Maybe mention something specific from the conversation that resonated with you. Keep it professional and concise.
Great tips for the virtual hot seat. Lastly, the guide covers avoiding common pitfalls. What are the big mistakes people make when job hunting online?
It flags a few key ones. First up is the generic application bomb, just spraying a same resume and cover letter everywhere. We already hit this, but tailoring is vital. Quality over quantity.
Right. Sending out hundreds of generic ones is likely just a waste of your time and energy.
For sure. Another biggie is neglecting networking. If you only stick to job boards, you're missing potentially half the opportunities in that hidden market. Not efficient. Researching the company is another one. It comes across really badly if you clearly know nothing about them, shows a lack of genuine interest.
And that online presence thing again?
Yep. Ignoring your online presence, an unprofessional digital footprint, or none at all can definitely hurt your chances.
What about messing up the interview itself?
Being unprepared for virtual interviews, tech fails, a chaotic background, being way too casual, it all leaves a bad impression. Treat it like any formal interview. Also, applying for too many unsuitable jobs. Spreading yourself too thin on roles you're not really qualified for isn't efficient. Focus your efforts.
And the final step.
Poor follow-up. Forgetting the thank you note, or maybe following up too aggressively or inappropriately, it can sour things right at the end.
These seem like basic errors, but totally understandable how people fall into them under pressure. Okay, so stepping back, this guide paints a picture of the 2025 online job search as, yeah, challenging but also exciting. It really reflects this shift towards flexibility, global reach, and skills.
It really does. And the guide wraps up with some encouraging takeaways. Continuous learning is essential. The online world moves fast, so commit to upskilling. It mentions resources like Coursera, Udemy, LinkedIn Learning.
You got to keep evolving. And the search itself can take time.
Absolutely. Be patient and persistent. The guide is realistic. Finding the right online job takes time and effort. Don't get down with rejections. Try to learn from them.
And once you land that remote role,
Focus on well-being. And flexibility is great, but the guide stresses you need discipline to set boundaries, manage your time, and avoid burnout. Healthy work-life integration is key.
this guide really offers a solid strategic approach. It feels like the right online job is out there for you, but you need to be informed, strategic, and persistent.
Yeah, it takes away some of the mystery and gives you clear steps to take.
Which leads us perfectly to the final thought this guide leaves us with, something for you to really chew on. As these AI tools get better and better, embedding themselves more deeply into how we find jobs and how we do the work, how will those uniquely human qualities, things like your adaptability, your creativity, your knack for deep, complex problem solving, how will those become even more valuable? How will they be the things that truly set you apart in this evolving online job market? Something to think about as you navigate your own search.
Thanks for tuning in. Keep practicing, and for more English lessons, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share.